Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel Dr. Barkis Ophthalmology Tutorials. So from this video I will be starting with a chapter of the keratitis. So in this particular video I will be discussing about the most confusing terms like the corneal abrasion, corneal erosion, keratitis, corneal ulcer. So what is the difference between all these first and then the classification of the keratitis. Okay, so without much delay let's begin our video. What is the exact meaning of these words? That is corneal abrasion, erosion, keratitis and the corneal ulcer. So let me explain in brief about all these here. The corneal abrasion is there is epithelial defect. Means there is discontinuity in the epithelium of the cornea. That is corneal abrasion. So the causes will be in the form of minor trauma. Whereas in the corneal erosion, which will also have the epithelial defect, but the cause is different compared to the abrasion. So the presentation, the frequency of presentation, treatment, everything will be different between these two. That is the corneal abrasion and the erosion. The next thing is the keratitis. As you all know, the itis stands for the inflammation and the keratitis means the inflammation of the cornea. That's it. So there is inflammation of the cornea. So what is the last term? That is corneal ulcer. So this is the combination of these two. That is the corneal abrasion and the keratitis forms the corneal ulcer. Means there is inflammation as well as there is epithelial defect. So the corneal ulcer is discontinuity in the epithelium of the cornea along with the inflammation of the surrounding tissue. So let's move on to all these in detail now. Coming to the corneal abrasion, the definition is it is the defect in the epithelium of the cornea, or you can call it as a scratch in the surface of the cornea. So the causes can be minor trauma, finger nail injury, or it can be the trauma by the brushes which are used for the makeup. So all those things, any minor trauma can lead to the abrasion in the cornea. So the symptoms here, since there is breach in the epithelium, the corneal nerve endings are exposed. So here the patient will have a lot of pain because the corneal nerve endings are exposed and the patient will be unable to open the eyelids. There is hyperlacrimation. Okay, so these are the symptoms of corneal abrasion. Coming to the signs, as I have explained in my previous video, you can examine the cornea under the slit lamp and you can use the fluorescent stain to make out the epithelial defect, okay, which stands out with a cobalt illumination. The treatment is very simple. One is you should take care of the epithelial defect as well as you should treat the pain. So to relieve the pain, you should put the patient on cycloplegic drugs, that is Homide. Along with that, one antibiotic eye drop to prevent the secondary infection. Using the lubricating eye drops or the eye ointment, you should give rest to the eye for at least 24 hours. So patch the eye for 24 hours, thereby the corneal abrasion will heal. So this is about corneal abrasion. Coming to the next entity, that is corneal erosion. As I told, here also there is defect in the epithelium, but the cause is different. As you know, normally the epithelium is firmly adherent to the underlying basement membrane. But in case of corneal erosions, this epithelium is not firmly adherent to the basement membrane. Thereby, even the minor movements of the eyelids will lead to the peeling of the epithelium from the basement membrane. That is corneal erosion. The causes are like, as you know, the epithelial dystrophies like the MAP dot dystrophy, that is one of the causes for your corneal erosion, or the corneal abrasion, which is in the healing stage, may again end up in corneal erosion. Okay, the symptoms are similar to that of the corneal abrasion. The signs are again similar to corneal abrasion. Here the patient will be presenting with the repeated episodes of the symptoms and the signs. So then you will have to carefully look into the dystrophies. The similar treatment which is used for the corneal abrasion can be used. If it is repeated episode, then you can go for anterior stromal puncture, where you will be creating small burns between the epithelium and the basement membrane, thereby giving firm adhesion between the epithelium and the basement membrane. Coming to keratitis, which is one of the most important topics for the undergraduates. Okay, so this can be asked for your main question or in the 5-mark question, even in the 3-mark as well as in Viva. So the keratitis is the most important topic. So I will be dealing with keratitis in detail later. But just to summarize what is keratitis, it is nothing but inflammation of the cornea. Okay, there is inflammation of cornea which can present as corneal edema, or there can be cellular infiltrates, or there can be even circumcorneal congestion. Okay, we have various types of keratitis and various causes for the keratitis which I will be discussing now. So this is keratitis. Okay, so coming to the corneal ulcer. So as I told, this is the combination of corneal abrasion and keratitis. So there is a component of inflammation and there is a component of epithelial breach. So the definition is discontinuation of the normal epithelium associated with the necrosis of the surrounding corneal tissue. So all these must be there to call it as corneal ulcer. So coming to the classification of keratitis, so the classification can be depending upon the cause, that is etiological classification, or depending upon how the cornea is looking, that is the morphological classification. For the etiological classification, just remember this mnemonic, that is IAS and ITC. IAS is the familiar term for you, and the ITC, I think it is the most commonly used mnemonic for neuromuscular junction activity. Just remember the etiological classification for the keratitis like IAS and the ITS. Okay, let's move on to the etiological classification now. So the IAS, I stands for infective, A for allergic, S associated with skin and mucous membrane disease, I again for the idiopathic, T for trauma and trophic, C for the systemic collagen vascular diseases. Okay, so is it easy to remember now? Let me repeat. I for infective, A for allergic, S for skin and mucous membrane disease, I again for the idiopathic, T for trauma and trophic, and C for associated with collagen vascular diseases. So in each, let us see what are the causes. So in the infective, you all are familiar with the bacteria, virus and the fungus. So those are the first three infective causes: bacterial, viral and the fungal, followed by chlamydial, protozoal and the spirochetal. Okay, in the allergic, just remember the topics of the conjunctiva. So there we have the vernal conjunctivitis, atopic conjunctivitis and the flictinular conjunctivitis. So the word keratitis is added here, means there is a continuity of the inflammation of conjunctiva to the cornea. So flictinular keratoconjunctivitis, vernal keratoconjunctivitis and the atopic keratoconjunctivitis. So when the keratitis is associated with diseases of the skin and mucous membrane, we have two examples, that is cicatricial pemphigoid and the lichen planus. So here also there is corneal involvement. In the idiopathic cases, the examples are Murren's ulcer, superior limbic keratoconjunctivitis and the superior punctate keratitis. Okay, the keratitis or the inflammation of the cornea can also follow trauma, like following chemical injuries or the mechanical injuries. And in the trophic type, where the nutrition to the cornea is hampered, leading to the trophic keratitis, that is exposure keratitis, neurotrophic keratitis and the keratomalacia. Coming to the last one, that is C stands for the collagen vascular diseases. So the classic example is peripheral ulcerative keratitis or PUK. This is the etiological classification. Remember IAS and ITC. Coming to the morphological classification, here it is very important to first divide the keratitis into whether it is ulcerative or non-ulcerative. Okay, means check whether there is intactness of the epithelium or not. If the epithelium is breached, it comes under ulcerative type. If the epithelium is still intact, then it is ulcerative type. So in the ulcerative, there are so many classifications, but I felt these two are clinically important, which have some relevance when you treat the patient. So in the ulcerative, depending upon the purulence, it can be divided into purulent and the non-purulent. So in the purulent, we have the bacterial and the fungal as the causes, whereas in the non-purulent, as you know, the viral keratitis, chlamydial and the allergic. So these come under non-purulent ulcerative type. Okay. So depending upon the depth of the ulcer, that is depending upon the breach or the erosion of the cornea, we have the classification like the superficial, deep, corneal ulcer with impending perforation and the perforated corneal ulcer. Okay, superficial only when the epithelium and the underlying bowman is involved. Deep when it involves the most of the stroma. When it is impending to perforate, means that is when the Descemet's membrane is intact, but there is descemetocele formation, that is categorized as corneal ulcer with impending perforation. And the last one is where it is given way, that is perforated corneal ulcer. Because the management plan differs for all this classification is important. Coming to the non-ulcerative type, here again it is classified into superficial and deep. In the superficial, it can just be in the form of dots, that is called as punctate superficial keratitis. Okay, so just add on the words, that is punctate, superficial and keratitis. So punctate superficial keratitis, or it can be diffuse involvement of the cornea, that is called as diffuse superficial keratitis. In the deep, again we have two types, that is non-suppurative and the suppurative. In the non-suppurative, the infection can be either interstitial or deciform keratitis. When it is coming to the suppurative form, don't get confused here. There is suppuration, but the epithelium is still intact. Okay, so the suppurative form, we have either the central corneal abscess formation or the posterior corneal abscess formation. So this is about the morphological type of classification, where depending upon the morphology or the how the ulcer is looking, the classification is done. So this was a very short video just to get the overview of all the words which are used frequently when you are describing the keratitis, as well as the classification of keratitis. Hope this video was useful to all of you. If you like my videos, please do subscribe to my channel. Press the bell icon for further notifications. Please do like and share my videos. So you can always leave your valuable comments in the comment section. Thank you so much.